Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to make dark garage in the style of artwork inspired by his Red EP. The project file, samples and presets are available for a small contribution in the description and via my Patreon. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you want more content like this. Suggestions for future videos are also greatly appreciated. Our BPM is 138 and we're in the key of A Locrian, so that's the notes of the G natural minor scale, but starting from A. This mode is suitably dark in a similar way to Phrygian dominant or harmonic minor, especially when utilizing the kind of semitone intervals artwork does. First, we have the kick. I've gone with something punchy, akin to rank. Like with a lot of garage, the kicks are functional in Artwork's EP, so they're not the focus of the track and mainly reinforce the groove. Next, we have the drums. I've got a clap and a rim here. In both Rolex Rhythm and Red, it seems as though Artwork uses slightly different sounding snares or clap hits. I've used a vocoder on the rim to make it noisy. Using noisy or crusty sounds can help realize the dark garage aesthetic. I'll play these together so you can hear how they sound layered. Next, we have the high percussion. Starting with the tambourines. These tambourines are in a drum rack, and I've put them both in choke group 1, and they've also been panned. This is the tam loop, which is a heavily edited think break tambourine. Then we have the closed hat. Shaker 1. These play in between a lot of the other notes. So the grid is on 8th notes, and we can see that these are on 16th notes, which aren't 8th notes, if that makes sense. Think of them almost like ghost notes. The shaker is also low in the mix, but if I mute them, you can hear what they're adding. Having these supplementary subtle hits, often shakers or closed hats, can accentuate a groove. Next is shaker 2. And finally, the triangle. We have a 2-step groove, which is applied to everything in the drums bus. If I take the timing down, we can hear what it's doing. On the group, there's saturation and drum bus, with both helping to crust up the drums. Then EQ and reverb via send A. And for this project, I'm using the basement preset. Next, we have the basses. starting with the wob bass. We can see these notes are within an interval of one another, or they are for the most part, and this creates a darker sound, which is what I was talking about earlier. In massive, both oscillators 1 and 2 are square waves, and they've both been taken down by 2 octaves. I'm using phase modulation, which is active on oscillator 2, and this is like FM synthesis. You can hear how the modulation oscillator beefs up the mid-range. There's a low-pass filter with a good amount of resonance, and its cutoff is being modulated by LFO5. Seemed like the best way to get the type of articulations heard in red was to use a triangle-shaped LFO. I've also altered the amp envelope, taken glide off, and made the patch monophonic. Next, we have the FM bass. Here I've used a bass splitting technique, and I'll link another video describing this in depth. The reason for this is that I'm using several modulation-based effects on this bass, and I wanted a clean mono sub. For the top, we have a sine wave taken down by 2 octaves, with its FM from B knob being modulated by LFO1, which is an envelope. Oscillator B's level has been taken down, just so we only have the effect of the FM, and it's another sine wave. There's a low pass filter with resonance and drive, and its cutoff is modulated by LFO2. This time the LFO is set to off, so it isn't re-triggered each time the sound plays, giving us more filter variation. This is because I noticed modulation-based effects on the bass in rank. In the effects, there's hyperdimension for detuning, distortion, and phaser, which is for more modulation. For the sub, we have a sine wave taken down by 2 octaves, and a filter with the same settings as the top, but more drive added, and there's nothing in the effects. And on both chains, we have the frequency splitting EQs. On the channel, there's a mono utility and EQ. On the group, we have EQ, parallel compression, and reverb via A. Finally, we have the effects. There are 3 categories of effects here. One shots like the reverse effects and the scratch. The transition effects like the impact, reverse laser, and bell reverse, and the third is the texture. These were the varieties of effects I identified in Artworks tracks, and the use of all 3 types in a track can be necessary for a sparse style like this. Some of these have echo applied, and the impacts and texture have these bandpass filters. Which sweep around the frequencies, creating a sense of change and movement. On the group, there's saturation, drum bus, EQ, and chorus. plus reverb via Sende. My advice for creating these types of sounds, or certainly for the textures and transitions, is to find weird sounds, time stretch and or repitch them, apply modulation-based effects like chorus or flanger, and even vinyl warbling or tape stop. Old sound banks from synths can work here, but you could just as easily find these types of samples on Splice. And that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah.